Good evening, everyone. I hope you are all doing well and staying safe. Welcome to the fourth episode of Madrasty Science Club broadcast. Here is Mariam Shref, a petroleum engineer from Lebanon, and I will be your broadcaster for today's episode, which will be about topics in astronomy. Today, we're having with us Julie, Yusuf, Tuta, Basil, and Saif. So welcome and thank you for joining us. And now, please, can I ask you to introduce yourselves? And we will start with Julie.
Hi, my name is Jolie and I'm 9 years old and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Yusuf?
Hi, my name is Yusuf. I'm 14 and I'm happy to be here.
Saif?
Hi, my name is Saif. I'm 14 and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Tuta?
Hi, my name is Tuta. I'm 13 and I'm happy to be here.
And Basil?
Hi, I'm Basil and I'm 10 years old and I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you. So now we'll be doing the following. I'll be asking you some questions related to astronomy, and I'll be happy to hear from you your thoughts regarding the topic or question being asked. So our first question for today, what is astronomy? So what do you know about astronomy? We can start with Yusuf.
Okay, astronomy is a natural science that studies celestial objects and phenomena.
Okay, thank you. Julie, what do you know about astronomy?
Astronomy is the study of celestial objects and space and the universe as a whole.
Great, thank you. Saif, do you want to add something?
Astronomers allow most space operations to occur due to the fact that orbital satellites and telescopes allow us to see around the solar system in order to know where we need to send our ships.
Yes, exactly. And Basil, do you want to add something?
Yes, astronomy is the science of celestial bodies and it uses math and physics, chemistry, and like a lot of science in it so they can do it. Discover in space and everything.
Great, thank you. And Tuta, do you want to add something?
Yeah, in astronomy, we study everything in space, so the universe, black holes, planets, comets, stuff like that.
So true, all of what you have just said is true. So as you said, astronomy is the branch of science that deals with space and the physical universe as a whole. Now, moving to a telescope, you mentioned a telescope. So what do you know about a telescope, or why do we use a telescope? So Julie, do you know?
A telescope is an optical instrument using lenses, curved mirrors, or a combination of both to observe distant objects.
Yes, excellent. And Basil?
A telescope is used to see things that are far away, like really far away, that you can't see with the binoculars or anything. So you can see really far things. And it's not a machine, it's because it doesn't have any mechanics. As we said, it's a mechanical instrument used to see things that are far away.
Yes, exactly. Tuta, do you want to add something?
Yes, please. So some telescopes are really big and they use them in like planetariums so they can see stars and planets.
Yes, exactly. And Saif?
The most effective telescopes are located upon high mountains where there is no light or within space.
True. And Yusuf, do you want to add something?
I have nothing to add.
Okay. Now, what does an astronaut do? So, what is his job or her job? So, Bassel, do you know?
An astronaut is the person that discovers in space what is out there, not in Earth. So you can discover what else is here, but except Earth. So a person who can travel in space, so he can discover more about the universe and learn new things about the world.
Okay, thank you. And Yusuf.
So an astronaut is someone who travels to space. They could travel to space for many reasons. They could travel to space to board the ISS. They could travel to space to go on the moon. But yeah, an astronaut's job is just to travel to space.
You have a student related, so
Yeah.
you do the opposite.
Exactly. Julie, do you want to add something?
An astronaut is a person who goes to space to like explore things.
Yes, exactly. So, as you all said, an astronaut is a person who's trained to travel in a spacecraft in order to study space. So, it's worth mentioning that the UAE's Noura Al-Matroushi is the first Arab woman to start training to be an astronaut, and I hope that many more females will join soon in the near future. Now, moving to the comet. What is a comet? What do you know about comets? So we can start with Saif.
A comet is like a big block of ice that comes from the Kuiper belt, which is at the edge of the solar system, and when it flies near the sun, it heats up and the tail forms behind it due to the fact that it's melting.
Yes, exactly. Julie?
A comet is basically a big ball of ice and rock. As a comet approaches and gets closer to the sun, it starts spewing dust and gas.
True, excellent. And Tuta?
No thanks, I have nothing to add.
And Basil, do you have something to add?
A comet can be made out of ice or dust, and that's why sometimes if it's ice and has some dust, that's why a comet can sometimes have two tails, a dust tail and an ice tail, like water tail. That it has these tails when it goes too close to the sun, so it heats up and melts the ice, and the solar wind from the sun pushes the dust off to make a dust tail.
Thank you. Excellent explanation. So, as you all said, comets are cosmic snowballs of frozen gases, rock, and dust that orbit the sun. So, when frozen, they are the size of a small town. And when a comet's orbit brings it close to the sun, it heats up and emits dust and gases into a giant glowing head larger than most planets. Now, let me ask you, where do the comets come from? Do you know?
Wait, can you repeat the question?
So where do comets come from?
Come down or calm down?
Come from.
Oh, come from. Yeah, they
Yeah.
come from the Kuiper belt at the edge of the solar system.
Yes, so basically they are leftovers from the beginning of the solar system. So they are the leftovers. Okay, moving to eclipse. So do you know what is an eclipse in Arabic? So Basil.
I know what it is in Arabic, but I now know from the picture. But
No, the word. What is the word is in Arabic? Okay, does someone know?
الخسوف.
Yes, الكسوف. So can you explain what is an eclipse?
Yes, there are two kinds of eclipse: a solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse. A solar eclipse is when the moon is in the middle between the Earth and the Sun. So I mean, this is the solar one, and the lunar eclipse is when the Earth is between the moon and Sun.
Yes, true. Thank you. Yusuf, do you want to add something?
Sure. So an eclipse is the partial or complete obscuring relative to a designated observer of one celestial body by another.
Thank you. Julie, do you have something to add?
An eclipse is a complete or partial hiding of the sun caused by the moon passing between the sun and the earth.
Thank you. And Saif?
Lunar eclipses are much more common than solar eclipses, with solar eclipses occurring maybe about every 100 years. And during a solar eclipse, you won't actually be able to see the moon at all because the sun's light is so bright that it shines around the moon. So you have to wear special glasses in order to see the moon.
So an eclipse occurs when one heavenly body, such as a moon or planet, moves into the shadow of another heavenly body. And as you said, the difference between a solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse is that a solar eclipse is when is the one in which the moon is in between the earth and the sun, while the lunar eclipse is the one in which the sun is in between the earth, sorry, is in between the sun and the moon. So moving to the moon, the famous moon. So Julie, do you know what is a moon?
The moon is a large natural object that orbits or travels around the earth.
Yes, exactly. Tuta?
A moon is formed after planets where other parts of planets are broken. And fun fact, scientists think that Jupiter has 79 moons.
Yes, exactly. And Yusuf, let me ask you, is the moon a gas or a rocky satellite?
So it's a rocky satellite.
Yes, true, exactly. Now, Saif, do you know what is the common name for a moon in Latin and Italian?
It's either Luna or Apollo.
Luna. Yes, it is Luna. So the moon is Luna in Latin and Italian. So Basil, do you have something to add?
Yeah, a fun fact, Saturn has 82 moons.
Okay, great. I didn't know that. Okay, so as you all said, a moon is every natural celestial body with an identified orbit around the planet of the solar system, and the moon is the Earth's only natural satellite. Okay, before moving to the moon phases, do you know what is the size of the moon compared to the Earth?
The mass of the moon is about 1/6 of the Earth. But the actual physical size, it depend. It depends. Most of the moon's made up of a single mineral, so it'd probably be like a little under 1/6.
Yes. So how big is the moon compared to the Earth? So it will require 81 moons for them to fit into the Earth. So yes. So moving to the moon phases. Yusuf, do you know how many phases do we have?
There's 8.
Yes. Basil, do you want to name them?
Yes. There's the first quarter, the third quarter, the full moon, the new moon, the waning gibbous, and the waning crescent, and the waxing gibbous and the waxing crescent. Altogether, there are 8.
Yes, excellent. And Tuta, do you have something to add?
No, thanks.
Okay. Now, let me ask you. So, as you said, the moon displays these 8 phases, one after the other, as it moves through its cycle each month. So, do you know what is a lunar month? So, when we say a lunar month, what is a lunar month? Safe?
So a lunar month is the time it takes for the moon to go from a new moon to a full moon back to a new moon. And also the Islamic calendar lines up with the moon phases.
Yes, exactly. So what is unique about February, since we are now in February?
It's the shortest month due to the fact that the moon goes through its phases a little bit faster.
Yes. Tuta, do you want to add something?
Yes, please. Every 4 years, there's something called a leap year, and there's an extra day. And in February, instead of 28 days, it's 29 days long. Every 4 years.
Yes, exactly. And Julie, do you have something to add? Okay, so as you said, one of the biggest February fact is that it's the only month that has no full moon. So month of February is shorter than the lunar cycle, and the lunar cycle is about 29 days. So moving to planets. So Julie, do you know what is a planet?
A planet is in a large heavenly body that orbits around a star as the sun.
Yes, true. And Saif, do you want to add something?
Planets can either be rocky, so they're made up of solids, or they could be gas and oftenly larger, so they're made up of gases.
Yes, thank you. And Yusuf?
I don't have anything to add about this one.
Okay, and Basil?
The gas giant planets that we have in our solar system are Saturn and Jupiter, by the way.
Yes, true. I wanted to ask. Okay, and what is the smallest planet in our solar system?
Mercury.
Yes, exactly. Now moving to the
May I add something?
yes, of course. Go ahead.
The first 4 planets are called rocky planets because they're made up of rock. And at the edge of the solar system, there's a dwarf planet called Pluto, and it used to be a planet, but now it's not. It's a dwarf planet.
Okay, thank you. Great facts. Moving to what is an orbit? So Yusuf, can you explain that?
Miss, can I say something? Plants?
Yes. Yes. Go ahead.
Pluto isn't considered as a planet because that doesn't do one thing all planets do. It doesn't clean its neighborhood. It means it doesn't clear like its orbit from like comets or other dwarf planets, so it was considered a dwarf planet. But everything else makes it as if it's a planet.
Okay, great, thank you. And Yusuf?
Okay, so an orbit is the path of a celestial body or an artificial satellite as it revolves around another body due to their mutual gravitational attraction.
Yes, exactly. And Julie, do you have something to add?
An orbit is a repeating path that one object in space takes around another.
Yes, thank you. And Saif?
Orbits are oftenly used for space travel, such as going when we went to the moon, we had to use the orbit. We would orbit around the moon to shoot ourselves back to the Earth. And also orbits take a lot of calculation to plan, requiring very advanced computers.
Exactly. So an orbit is a regular repeating path that an object in space takes around another one. So do you know what do we call the object in an orbit?
A satellite.
Yes, exactly. So an object in an orbit is called a satellite. Now moving to the Milky Way. So what is the Milky Way? We can start with Basil.
The Milky Way is the galaxy that Earth and the solar system is in.
Yes, excellent. And Tuta, do you have something to add?
Yeah, after millions of years, the Milky Way is going to collide with another galaxy called Andromeda.
Yes. And Yusuf, do you have something to add?
Sure. So the Milky Way galaxy got its name because people named it by how it looked from Earth. So I don't exactly know how they saw a milk in the galaxy, but yeah. So people looked at it. They saw milk, and so they named it the Milky Way galaxy. Yeah.
Okay, great.
They saw milk because of all the dust in between of the planets. So it caused when light went through the dust, it caused it to be white. So there were like big white marks. So it looked like milk.
Yes, so great. And Julie, do you have something to add?
Our galaxy is named Milky Way because of its milky appearance as it spreads all over the sky. The name dates back to ancient Greece, as the Greek word for galaxy derives from the word milk.
Okay, thank you, Julie. And as you all said, the Milky Way is the galaxy that includes our solar system. So it contains hundreds of billions of stars like our sun. So what is a star? We can ask Tuta, do you know what is a star? Okay, we can move to Julie. Do you know what is a star?
A star is like a ball of gas and is held up with its own gravity.
Yes, excellent. Saif, do you know what is the closest star to Earth?
The closest star to Earth is the sun.
Yes, exactly. So now let me ask you, sometimes we see loads of stars in the sky and sometimes we don't see any. So do you know why? Why does this happen?
I do.
Yes, Yusuf.
So there's two reasons. One reason could be that there are clouds during the night sky that are covering up the stars. And another reason, which I've heard from some people, is pollution. The pollution has also been like, kind of covering over the Earth. So that also blocks our, like, some of the stars.
Yes, exactly. So, Saif, do you have something to add?
It's mostly pollution, but not the type of pollution like gas pollution. It's light pollution. Like cities emit a lot of light, and it's in the sky. It's not anywhere in a major city. You can't see stars. Away from a city, there's less light. Therefore, you can see more stars.
Yes, exactly. Excellent. It's due to light pollution. Basil, do you have something to add?
Yes, when we went to a place called Siwa in Egypt, since there weren't like almost no cars and like no lights, so we could see stars and they looked amazing.
Exactly. Thank you. And Tuta, do you have something to add?
There are a lot of types of stars. There are blue giants and red giants, I think, or red dwarfs.
Okay, thank you. So, as yes.
Sometimes when you connect stars together, you can make a constellation. It can look like a mini drawing, as if you connected the dots, like the game. And so you can make like a person like Orion or the Gemini twins when you like kind of like two men together, and like Cerberus, Sirius, Venus, anything.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Basil. And now, as Julie said, a star is a sphere of gas held together by its own gravity. And as Yusuf and Saif said that, so the reason why sometimes we see loads of stars in the sky and sometimes we do not is due to light pollution in the atmosphere. Now, do you know what is unique or what are some characteristics of the red dwarf star?
I do.
Yes, please go ahead, Yusuf.
So a red dwarf star is the smallest and coolest kind of star on the main sequence. And they are also the most common across the Milky Way.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. And Saif, do you have something to add?
I was gonna say that most main sequence stars turn into red dwarfs, and red dwarfs, when they collapse, oftenly do not supernova. They just collapse and release a lot of gas, so they won't like blow up.
Yes, thank you. And Julie, do you have something to add?
A red dwarf star are smaller than half the size of the sun. They are also cooler than most stars because red dwarfs burn their fuel slowly, so they shine with less light than hot stars.
Yes, thank you, Julie. And finally, Basil and Tuta, do you have something to add?
I want to say something about constellations. Look, this is a ball which has the constellations, but you can't really see them without light. So, and when you look at the roof, if there isn't any light, you will see the constellations on the roof.
Okay, thank you, Basil, for this explanation. And Tuta, do you have something to add?
No, thanks.
Okay. Now the last question for today. What is a blue giant star? So before moving to the blue giant stars, so as you said, the red dwarf star is the smallest and the coolest kind of star on the main sequence. So let me ask Tuta, do you know what is the blue giant star?
Yeah, a blue giant star is one of the types of stars, and it's the hottest of all of them.
And the largest.
Okay, thank you. And Saif, do you have something to add?
Okay, so blue giants are the largest stars in are the largest stars we've seen. They're intensely bright. They're exceedingly hot, but they have very short lives. And when their lives end, if they're large enough, they'll collapse into a black hole. And if they're not, then they'll blow up into a supernova, allowing more stars to be formed.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. And Yusuf, do you have something to add?
Sure. Most blue giants have a luminosity class of 3.
Yes, exactly. So blue giant stars are the hottest type of stars that are currently around. Now, do you know what is more rare to find, the blue giant star or the red dwarf stars? So what kind has the largest population in our galaxy?
Red dwarf.
Red dwarfs. Blue giant.
True. True. So red dwarf stars, they usually make up the largest population of stars in the galaxy, but they hide in the shadows too dim to be seen with the naked eye from Earth. Now, by this, we conclude our session today. I hope that you all learned something new today. I personally learned a lot of things from you. And I hope that you all had fun while learning about different topics in astronomy. So thank you, Julie. Thank you, Tuta. Thank you, Basil, Saif, and Yusuf for your participation and time. Now, thank you. Now, I hope that you all enjoy the rest of your day and see you next week with a new episode. Bye.
Okay, see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.